Have you ever really paused to think about your cooking oil? Probably not much beyond, extra virgin or maybe canola.
Right, it's usually just something you grab off the shelf.
Exactly. But what if I told you one seemingly humble oil, sunflower oil, is actually this massive multi-billion-dollar global powerhouse? And it's projected to almost double in size in the next decade or so.
It's quite the story, actually.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take a stack of sources and, well, we pull out the most important bits, the key knowledge nuggets, give you a shortcut to being really well informed. Today, we're plunging into the fascinating world of the global sunflower oil market.
A big one.
Yeah, it is. Our mission here is to unpack the key insights from a pretty comprehensive market research report. It's called Global Sunflower Oil Market, Growth Trajectory to 2033. And it's from Cognitive Market Research.
Right.
We want to give you the big picture, but also some, surprising details about this really significant global industry.
Sounds good.
Okay, let's start with a quick snapshot because the numbers themselves are pretty remarkable. Back in 2021, the global sunflower oil market was already worth just shy of $39 billion.
Yeah, already huge.
But here's where it gets really interesting. It's projected to soar past $80 billion by 2033.
Wow.
That represents a compound annual growth rate, DCGR, of 6.23% globally.
And that kind of expansion for such a, foundational product like cooking oil, that's a huge story in itself.
Definitely. And we're going to unpack exactly what seems to be driving all that.
Absolutely. What's truly fascinating, I think, is that sustained growth rate you mentioned, the 6.23%. For a market of this immense scale, that isn't just, simple growth.
Right.
It's really robust growth. It signals strong underlying and pretty consistent demand right across the globe. When you really stop and consider the sheer volume of a commodity like cooking oil, these figures represent a truly massive industry that's, still expanding significantly. It touches nearly every household, really.
Okay, so let's break this down a bit, maybe region by region. Starting with North America. Certainly, a solid performer in this whole growth story. The North American market, already a multi-billion-dollar segment, is expected to almost double by 2033. It's showing an overall KGR pretty close to 5.9%.
Yeah, and within North America, the report, it does highlight pretty consistent growth across the board there.
Okay.
Both the United States and Canada, they're projected to see their markets nearly double as well, with KGRs hovering, around that 5.6% to 5.7% mark.
So fairly steady.
Yeah, it broadly mirrors the overall North American trend, indicates, stable, steady demand.
But, there's a particularly striking trend, I thought, when we look at Mexico within North America.
Ah, yes.
While the U.S. and Canada show that solid growth, Mexico seems to be experiencing notably stronger expansion. It's projected to more than double its market size, with a CGR closer to 6.6%.
That's right.
That's significantly higher than its northern neighbors, right?
Yep.
Within the same continent. What does the report suggest is driving that acceleration?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it is a key insight from the report. This surge in Mexico, it seems to be attributed to a few things. A rapidly expanding middle class, for one,
Okay.
and increased adoption of, let's say, modern cooking methods. Plus, there's a growing awareness of healthier dietary choices, particularly in urban centers.
Right, the health angle again.
Exactly. So it's a prime example, really, of how changing consumer habits can create these new growth hotspots, even within a more established region like North America.
Interesting. Okay, let's move across the Atlantic then to Europe. Now, this region seems to be truly leading the charge.
It really does.
Projected to more than double its market size by 2033, with an overall CGR closer to 6.6%. That's, noticeably higher than North America's average.
It is.
What insights does the report offer about Europe's strong performance here?
Well, this higher growth rate in Europe, especially compared to North America, it's particularly insightful, I think.
Yeah.
The report points to a strong, sort of established consumer preference for plant-based oils over there. That's coupled with significant industrial usage in processed foods across the continent.
Ah, so it's both home cooking and industrial use.
Precisely. That deep integration into both sides of the food system really seems to drive that sustained higher growth.
Okay.
And then when we drill down into specific countries, places like France, Germany, and Spain, they're truly outpacing many others. Their TAGRs are nearing 6.9%.
Wow, almost 7%.
Yeah, really strong.
It's fascinating, though, how even within Europe, we see such, varying intensities of growth.
Yeah, definitely.
Other significant European markets, like, say, Russia and Sweden, They show solid growth, but it's more moderate, closer to that 6.2% mark. While the UK, Italy, Denmark, Switzerland, they're also contributing strongly, generally in that sort of mid 6% range too.
Exactly. It really emphasizes the breadth, and the dynamic nature of the growth right across the continent. It's not uniform.
Absolutely. Okay, now let's pivot to Asia Pacific. This is another major player, right? Showing both high volume and, well, high potential.
A huge region, yeah. This region's sunflower oil market is also projected to more than double by 2033. It has a robust overall CAGR of about 6.4%.
Right, so slightly below Europe's average, but still very strong. And within Asia Pacific, the report details key markets like China, Japan, and India. I mean, these are massive economies.
Huge populations.
Yeah, these three countries are all projected to see their sunflower oil markets nearly double too, with KGRs generally around the 6% to 6.1% level. We're talking huge volumes of growth in some of the world's most populous nations here.
Indeed. It's quite something, but just like we saw in Europe, Asia-Pacific has its own sort of high-growth hotspots that really stand out in the data.
Ah, okay. Where are those?
Well, Southeast Asia as a bloc is projected to grow at a fantastic 6.9% CAGR.
Wow, matching those top European countries.
Pretty much, yeah. And then you have places like Taiwan, South Korea, and also Australia showing very strong growth too, generally above that 6.6% mark. So again, it highlights how different regional factors, national factors are really shaping demand patterns.
So, okay, we've covered the big powerhouses, North America, Europe, Asia, Pacific. But what about the rest of the world? Are we seeing similar growth drivers or maybe unique patterns emerging in, say, South America, the Middle East, and Africa?
We are, yeah. And it continues to paint this picture of widespread global expansion, but definitely with distinct regional nuances.
Okay.
So in South America, the overall CAGR is just over 6%. But within that, Brazil and Argentina are really leading the charge. Both are exceeding a 6.3% CAGR.
So they're pulling the average up.
Exactly. It indicates strong, consistent demand across the continent, though some of the smaller markets, grouped as rest of South America, show slightly lower growth, around 5.1%.
Got it.
And that broad growth in South America kind of sets the stage for what we see moving over to the Middle East.
Right.
Here, the overall CAGR is just a bit lower, under 5.9%. But Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Egypt, they are key contributors there, all with CAGRs exceeding 6%.
Okay, so similar pattern-specific countries driving a lot of the regional growth.
Yeah, it suggests that while the overall region's growth is solid, certain countries are really driving the bulk of that expansion.
And Africa.
And finally, Africa is showing, pretty impressive widespread growth, actually. The overall CAGR is about 6.3%.
Okay.
Nigeria is a strong performer with the CAGR over 6.4%. But what's particularly noteworthy, I think, is that the rest of Africa segment is also robust, almost the same, at nearly 6.4%.
Oh, interesting. So not just concentrated in one or two places.
Exactly. It indicates that growth isn't just isolated to, one or two major economies on the continent. It seems more broadly distributed, and that likely reflects increasing economic development and maybe changing dietary habits across more parts of the region.
That makes sense.
And the diversity in all these KGRs, even within the same continent sometimes, it really hints at different underlying market dynamics, maybe different consumer preferences or supply chain factors that the report suggests are at play. It's complex.
Okay, so what does this all mean then? We've seen these incredible growth trajectories across continents, across countries.
Yeah.
What's actually fueling this robust global expansion for sunflower oil year after year in so many diverse markets?
Right, the why behind the numbers. Well, if we connect all these figures back to the bigger picture that the report lays out, it really points to three primary driving forces.
Okay, what are they?
First, there's simply the increasing demand in food industries generally. Sunflower oil is just incredibly versatile, isn't it? It's used in everything from basic cooking and baking at home to a huge array of processed foods. Its neutral flavor, its high smoke point, that makes it a go-to choice for manufacturers and home cooks, really all over the world.
Right, its flexibility is key.
Definitely. Second, and we touched on this, we're seeing a clear global trend towards healthier cooking, or at least the perception of it.
Yeah.
Sunflower oil is often perceived as having health benefits, lower in saturated fat, high in vitamin E, and that appeals to increasingly health-conscious consumers everywhere.
So people are actively seeking it out.
It seems so, yeah. People are actively looking for what they believe are healthier alternatives, and this seems to play a significant role in its adoption rate.
Yeah, that's two. What's the third?
And finally, expanding global trade and just simply improved logistics are playing a crucial role.
The supply side.
Exactly. It's just easier than ever, relatively speaking, to get products like sunflower oil from where they're produced, think Ukraine, Russia, Argentina, to the markets that demand them.
Right.
Streamlined supply chains, better infrastructure. It makes the oil accessible even in, more remote areas than perhaps before. So this means these factors, they aren't just abstract concepts, right? They directly impact what you and I see on supermarket shelves, what's used in restaurants globally. And they are what's truly driving this, phenomenal growth story we've been talking about.
So there you have it, the global sunflower oil market.
Yeah.
It really is a testament to steady, robust growth, driven by, as you said, its versatility and this growing consumer demand. Projected to be over an $80 billion industry by 2033.
Quite something.
It's incredible, really, to think about how this seemingly simple product is part of such a complex, dynamic global market. And this raises an important question, maybe something for you, our listener, to consider. As this global demand for healthier oils continues its upward climb, what might be the broader implications? Thinking about agricultural production, trade relationships, maybe even geopolitical dynamics in the coming decade, especially for a crop like sunflower that, has major global producers concentrated in certain regions.
That's a really interesting point to ponder, yeah. The ripple effects could be quite significant.
Something for you to mull over until our next deep dive.